let us talk about the great importance the Yoruba attaches to meeting a woman at home when she is married. And by that, I mean the importance attached to virginity. And that is what we call Iba obìnrin nílé. There is one very ancient proverb that goes, Tani dio ton ka oko. The story behind that proverb may shock you greatly. Now get a shock absorber, because the story behind that proverb will definitely shock you. Tan dio ton ka oko. Who has binded you that you now confess the names of the men you have had affairs with? Kilo bi òwe yẹn. In those days, on the night of ìgbéyàwó, 2 members of the bride's extended family are detailed to remain at the doorstep of the house of the new bride when they are doing the do. The groom takes his new bride into the room, and these 2 members of the bride's family stay at the doorstep, straining their ears, expecting the sound of pain from the bride to be sure that she is a virgin. Now that is very awkward if you ask me, but let us move on with our story. Now another reason why those 2 family members stay there is so that they can quickly take to flight, just in case the new bride is not found a virgin. She is not found Virgo intacta. Wọ́n ti já ìbálẹ̀ ẹ̀, wọ́n ti bàlẹ̀. If that happens to be the case, they quickly run to the parents of the bride so that they can quickly come to rescue her, because the husband can become very violent. So if it happens that the new bride is not met at home, a message is sent to her parents. And this aroko could be a piece of white cloth with no blood stain on it. When the parents see it, they will understand the message. It can also be a palm wine gourd that is half filled, or a bunch of cowries with holes in them. This aroko can be an ikoko akufo or simply an empty calabash. When the parents get this message, they will now go on to the next level, and this is the one that I know will shock you greatly. The woman is tied to a stake or a tree or whatever, and she is flogged mercilessly till she confesses, till she calls the names of the man or the men who disvirgined her, the men whom she has had affairs with. This treatment was overseen by the bride's own father. Now, this doesn't lead to her being divorced. She will still remain a wife, but a wife without honor, without respect. And her iyale toroba shebioro will always go back to it to taunt her. They will always bring it up. They will always remind her that she wasn't married fully. She wasn't found a full woman. She wasn't met at home. And that is an eternal disgrace. But on the contrary, if she was met at home, first, those 2 women waiting at the door will be very happy. They'll be very excited. The husband will come out with a piece of cloth that has been blood stained. He will give it to them, and they will take it to the bride's parents, and the bride parents will receive it with great joy. They can also send aroko to the parents. Aroko in Yoruba land, which we shall be talking about in great detail much later, is an ancient style of sending messages codedly. This aroko to the parents of the virgin bride could be a gourd of palm wine fully filled, or a calabash filled with perfect cowries. On the following day, the day after meeting the new bride at home, there is something that happens which is called jíjẹ iyán ìbálé. Iyán ìbálé is the pounded yam that the older wives in the house of the new bride will pound in celebration of meeting the woman at home. Everything is done to make her feel good, to make her feel on top of the world, to make her feel like the perfect and virtuous woman that she is. Now, am I in support of that kind of very harsh, inhumane and cruel treatment given to women who weren't found virgins? Definitely not. Never. No normal human being should ever be in support of that. Because it wasn't only promiscuity that led to the breaking of a woman's hymen. Modern science had made us realize that some women simply don't have it, and some who had it but lost it premaritally could have been as a result of strenuous exercises or so many other things that is not necessarily promiscuity. But our people did not know that then. And mind you, this wasn't unique to us. It was a general thing. Every society moved from darkness to light. The Western world likes to try to paint all of these stories as though it is peculiar to Africa. But no, in fact, the ones that happened in their own place is way worse than the ones that we did. Go read about the Dark Ages and what these so-called civilized people of the Western world did to this kind of women, or the women that they considered witches. In medieval England, women who weren't met at home were chained together and tortured, sometimes to death. The things that happened in England and the whole of Europe at that time were so bad, so dark, that the whole of that era is today known as the Dark Ages. But in their stories about Africa, they make it look like all of these things are unique to Africa alone, including human sacrifices. So, Yoruba men in those days concluded that any woman who was found with her hymen broken was a prostitute, because the truth actually is that prostitution was almost non-existent at all in our societies in those ancient times. It couldn't have existed. We don't even have a word for it. Every word that we use for prostitution today in Yoruba language are actually not Yoruba words. Words like onishino, oninobi, these are not Yoruba words. The closest we have is ashewu, and this one we had to coin much later after observing the practices of the prostitutes. What do you think about this practice in ancient Yoruba lands? Share your thoughts very respectfully though, so that we all can learn from it. As always, thank you very much for watching this video to this point. Do not forget to subscribe, to like this video, and to share it very aggressively so that it may reach others also. I part with you, as usual, with the assurance of the fact that indeed, wa shere.